Welcome to Go Lurk Yourself, a podcast about streaming and playing video games on the internet. My name is Crunky.
I'm Cherry Cake.
Today we're going to talk about a couple of new games we've been playing. I played Let's Go Pikachu on stream and off stream quite a bit. And Cherry, what game were you playing?
I played a little bit of Hitman 2.
Nice, and that's on PC?
PC, PS4, Xbox, I think across the board.
Gotcha. If you didn't know, Pokemon is only on the Nintendo Switch. The Let's Go Pikachu is not on 3DS, or Let's Go Eevee. There's two versions of it. Just to start this off correctly, attention Pokemon fans, big-time fans of the series, I have rarely played any of the games, so this is going to be very much a newbie perspective on my experience playing it so far. I'm to the second gym, but if you're an avid Pokemon player, you probably already don't want to play Let's Go Pikachu or hear about it, so you might want to just skip ahead 20 minutes to the next review.
I will also say I'll jump on that bandwagon. I can't say I've ever actually played one of the original Pokemon games, so I'm entirely new to this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly new to it. I've tried, I think I've talked about it on the podcast before, but back when Pokemon first came out, I was right out of high school, so to my 18-year-old self, it was well, that's kids stuff. I don't want to mess with that. I didn't even touch it. I thought it was a thing kids played. I didn't realize, and they did. And those kids now are mid-20s, mid-30s, 30-year-olds people that are playing the game still, and that's great. I mean, I don't have to tell anybody here. I'm a huge retro gaming fan. I love playing the games I played when I was a kid. I just missed the bandwagon on Pokemon.
Maybe it is one of those things, though, that if you started playing it when you were young, you're going to be a fan for your entire life. If you missed it, then...
Yeah, it could be. I think for some people it definitely is. For me, it was. I think... And I'll get more to it when I talk about my experience with this one, but I've tried to go back, in my mid-20s, mid-30s, to go back and go, okay, let's pick up. I think it was Diamond and Pearl came out maybe 10 years ago. I don't even know what year that came out. I went back and I tried to play it, and I think what it happens, and I still see it in Let's Go Pikachu as well, is that there's some very very archaic design choices made because of the time it was that are now just traditional. The slow text crawling, the grinding, the dungeon layouts are very classic JRPG, like Final Fantasy 1 and 2 and Dragon Warrior and those kind of games. It definitely has that feel to it because those are the limits of the technology at the time. Inventory management on those old games, everything felt really slow, and it really prohibited me from getting into them. Yeah. In addition to the fact that it's clearly aimed toward kids, and I can't shake that every time I play it. Well, then I was it Friday, 2 days ago, this game came out on the Switch, and my wife and I had been talking about getting it, and we were like, should we, shouldn't we? Every time we try to play a Pokemon game, we end up not liking it, and are not sticking with it through the end. Yeah. And this one is $60 compared to normally they're on a 3DS, which is, $40 US. And then my daughter said, I actually would like to try that one too. It looks fun. And, so I picked it up, and on Friday night, Dee and Molly played it on her stream for quite a while, a couple hours, and had a good time with it. Then I played it, on stream the next morning, yesterday morning, for probably 3 hours, which is a long time for me to stream any game, let alone a Pokemon game. So I definitely enjoyed it. And then I played quite a bit offline. I've probably got 8 to 10 hours in it so far.
See, this is what surprises me about that, because when I first started watching you stream it, was it yesterday morning, and it felt like you were proper ragging on it, but I'm surprised at the fact that you've actually gone back to carry on playing it off the stream as well.
So yeah, part of me, making fun of it or ragging on it, making jokes was probably just me trying to make the stream interesting. 'Cause I have a tendency when I'm playing a new game to get soaked into the bits of the mechanics and trying to understand it and learn how to play it. And, that's not to say that I don't have some problems with Let's Go Pikachu, because I definitely do. But, the things that prohibit me from getting into a Pokemon game before are a little bit lessened in this one. Specifically I thought I would hate the catch mechanics, and I pretty much do, but it's way better. It's way better than the mechanics of catching Pokemon before. If everyone who's ever played a Pokemon before, which I'm sure 90% of the people listening to this have played it, you don't run and grab, you don't have to like fight each individual Pokemon down to like next to no health and then toss a Pokeball in the hopes that you get it. There's no combat when it comes to catching Pokemon in this version. You walk up to you actually, instead of being a random encounter like in the tall grass like it was in the old Pokemon games, literally you can see them running around on the screen. You can avoid them if you don't want to catch them. Oh, I already have that Zubat. I don't want it. I'm going to run around it because I don't need it. But you get XP for catching them as well. The difference is you now have to have Pokeballs in this game. And the part that get me frustrated with the catching is that it's motion controls. The motion controls aren't great.
Yeah, I do remember you having a bit of a gripe about it on stream. You said that it wasn't the best, but
no, it's good. It's better than like, Wii era motion controls. And especially like I was playing it right before we start doing this podcast. I was playing it on the couch. I've got a couch here in my stream room, and I was sitting there playing on the big screen TV to kind of get a good couple hours in with the docked mode. Because if you play it in a docked mode, like I did on stream or like I did on the couch, you have to use motion controls. You cannot use the Pro controller. You can't use your Joy-Cons in the other makeshift controller thing it has. You can either use one Joy-Con and motion controls, or you can play it in handheld mode without motion controls.
I found that weird. I understand why they've done it, obviously, because of the motion controls themselves, but
weird is a good way of...
Nintendo are, like, usually quite good at including, like, a couple of ways to play a game, rather than just limiting you to... It's forcing you to use the Joy-Cons by themselves.
Yeah, it's maddening. I mean, it's asinine that the option's there in handheld mode to not use motion controls.
Yeah.
And it's way preferable. This is the first Switch game that I've preferred to play in handheld mode. And it's not for any other reason other than it's the control scheme's better.
Yeah.
And for them to sell a $70 Pro controller and then not let me use it on a Nintendo published game, if this was a different company, I could understand, but even they wouldn't do that. It's maddening. Like everyone's like, oh, they'll probably patch it in. Unacceptable. I give them a huge strike for that Pro controller thing because it's more fun to play. Like literally right before I get on here, I'm running around. I'm up to the second gym. There's a cave on between the first gym city and the next city. There's a giant cave where you run into Team Rocket. Everything else about the game, everything else. They are in it, and they this is kind of a reimagining of Red and Blue, and everything else about the game is amazing. And it says something that I'm putting up with these controls to get through it and to play it, but it looks really good, like in docked mode on my 4K TV. It's not actually in 4K, but my big TV, it looks really good. I want to say it's 1080 in docked mode. It looks 1080 to me. Nice. Animation's really good. The only things that are like really annoying to me other than the motion controls from the game are like holdouts from before. Every time you catch a Pokemon, you get XP, or if you along the route, there's a lot of trainers that you run, or other trainers you run into, and you have little Pokemon battles, and that's where the combat is. And it's a really, really nice mix to me of the the classic JRPG turn-based combats there in those trainer battles. There's guys along the way, NPCs that are like, hey, if you run out of Pokeballs, come see me and I'll give you a few. So kind of all the things that make life easier in a JRPG where you don't have to run back and forth to the town. And there's little animations and cutscenes for Team Rocket and other little characters you run into. There was a really funny moment. It's probably right from the original game. I don't know because I didn't play it, but you're in town and this lady has a Slowpoke Pokemon.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen these?
Yeah, I've seen Slowpokes, yeah.
Yeah, so she's like, hey, I gotta go do something. Will you keep an eye on my Slowpoke for a minute? And I'm like, okay. So I click okay, and I expect it to be some kind of like mini game. No, it's just a cutscene where you sit there and you stare at the Slowpoke's butt as it looks at the camera. And it has this dumb look on his face. And it's just like spaced out. And it goes, the Slowpoke just looks off into nowhere. And that's the entire point of it. She comes back and says, thanks. Here's an item for doing this for me. And you're like, I was like, what?
Okay.
And it's those little things like, okay, it gets that it's a little silly. It's kind of in on its own joke here that made me go, oh, there is something to this. And I don't know if that played out the same way. I imagine on Pokemon Red and Blue, if that exact thing happens in that game, it's probably a lot more subtle because there's no camera sweeping around. It's all 8-bit. But those kind of things really made me laugh and go, okay, there's something here I can work with. And, the other thing that really was disappointing, is there is absolutely no, voice work at all. Voiceover.
Yeah. I do remember you saying this. You seemed a little bit upset about this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not upset, just disappointed,
Disappointed,
I'm not mad, son. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
But, it just seems like, what year is this? I mean, what do you, if you're going to charge $60 for the game, a couple of things that really are just annoying. Whenever you beat whenever you catch a Pokemon or you beat a trainer, you get XP for your party. And it literally shows your party in their XP bar, shows their bars fill up, and if they level up, it says level up, and then it just has to go through it shows it graphically on the screen, and then it goes through the text command, so-and-so leveled up, and then you have to hit button press to acknowledge it, but you can't button press until it's done streaming out the words. So if you fight a big trainer battle and everybody levels up, that's like 2 minutes of clicking through menus and then it says, oh, so-and-so wants to learn a new move. Would you like to replace an old move? You can't see what the move does until you say yes. So you have to go to the screen to see what it does. You got to cycle through all the moves and go, okay, think it through. And that's good if you want it, but there should be a way to just quickly go, okay, fine. Let me go in the menus later and do that. Or just tell me all my characters leveled up. Fine. Push one button and be done. But it has to go through each one. And I remember that specifically from Diamond and Pearl being like it's like walking in quicksand playing that game sometimes because this is like, I just want to get to the next battle. Let me do the thing. And
on the note, you were saying that if one of your Pokemon learn a new move, if you decline it, can you not put it on afterwards? Is there no way to go back into a menu and assign it then?
I have to be real careful because I don't know this for sure, but my impression from playing it, because I've never not learned the new move. I always just say yes and replace one I don't like. I think if you say no, you just don't get to learn it then. And maybe when he levels up again, he can. I don't know that for sure. There are these things called HMs. I want to say they're called. They're moves that's like a machine that teaches your Pokemon how to do a move that you can I don't know exactly theoretically how it's supposed to work, but or practically in its own world, but basically it says it's a machine that trains your Pokemon. So I guess you put the little ball in there and it zips them in there like a microwave or something. I don't know. It's funny because, when you go to the Poke Hospital or whatever it's called, the gal behind the counter goes, "Would you like me to heal your Pokemon?" You're like, "Sure." And you hand over 6 Pokeballs that represent your party, and they put them in this machine, and then they digitally show up on the monitor above them, and green light bathes over the Pokeballs and they're healed up. All that kind of stuff is really cool and nice touches. Yeah. And has to be more expensive than voiceover work, but I guess maybe not, because when you first launch the Pokemon game, it says which of the 4,000 languages this game is in do you want to play it in. So I guess if you need to do voiceover work for Pokemon, localization would be a real problem. Yeah. Be a lot of sound files.
The only other thing that I can think is that maybe why they've done it is keeping in tradition, I guess. Yeah. 'Cause none of the previous Pokemon game have had voiceovers, right?
Yeah, none of them have been fully 3D with cutscenes in them either. So they're clearly making some stretches. I'm holding out hope that the 2019 full mainline Pokemon game, because I am holding out hope that they go more in that direction. Maybe not voice over 100% of the line dialogue, but the important stories-based stuff would be cool. 'Cause when I went and did a little bit of research before I played this, I guess some of the things that people are most upset about, when I say people, I mean the Pokemon diehard fans that have played every game and love it. Yeah. They look at this Let's Go game and they're like, "This is not what I want. This is not the one I want to play." I think that game is coming in 2019 because this one is more entry level. The way I see it is a couple of years ago, the Pokemon Go took off on mobile. Like they're like, sure, Niantic, you make us a game, and it blew up. And then Nintendo and the company that makes the Pokemon games was like, I think they're legit called the Pokemon Company. They they were like, oh, this is huge. We need to make a game for this. And here it is years later, because it takes a long time to make a game.
Yeah.
In addition to the Switch being successful, I think they probably decided to make it HD and bring it to the Switch. And I think it's a smart move, because you can actually use touchscreen controls in this one. I did not test that though, because I preferred the Joy-Con in handheld mode so much better.
So you can use the same motion as you would on the mobile then?
Yeah, that's what I understand. Yeah.
Right, cool.
Now, I didn't try that because, honestly, I forgot about it until I was just sitting here thinking about the mobile version.
Yeah.
I should have tried that before we did this this review. This is really an impressions, not a review, by the way. Because I did not finish the game yet. I actually do plan on playing it some more, surprisingly. It's a great game for me, too, to also, like, while I'm watching sports or while I'm doing something else, to have on the Switch and play around with, because it's not super story based, but it's surprised me, as I said, with the Slowpoke and the Team Rocket stuff, it surprised me how much more like I'm into the story. And I think a lot of that has to do with the 3D motion and the camera and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that bugs me about this is that like you were saying at the beginning of this, I think the price that they've charged for it is wrong. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with it being a $60 game. It should have been $40, probably. Yeah,
I think Nintendo has always had what, I don't remember the term that they have for it, but basically they understand the perceived value of video games better than most companies. Most of the other video game companies, even not even games that are on Nintendo, they do a day one cash grab. And then they start, like, somebody did a report one time on a Call of Duty game, I would imagine, that said, okay, 75, 80% of all the money we're ever going to make is day one. We can increase our money quicker, because there's a value in the time it takes to get that money, by slashing the price 4 months down the road, then slashing it again 6 months down the road. And they to maximize this year's profits, they'll do that. But what has happened, and what I think Nintendo sees, is that lowers the perceived value of the games over time. Yeah. If you go to a used game store and they want more than $30 for a used game, you go, whatever. Yeah. Right? But if you go to the store and you see a Wii U Nintendo first party exclusive and it's $30, you're like, whoa, that one's cheap, because you expect Nintendo's games to be full price for longer. And right now, Nintendo Switch is hot. I don't like it either that it's $60. I said right from the beginning that, like, it made me question whether I was going to get it or not. Or if it was 40, I wouldn't even have thought about it. It wouldn't have been a decision. I'd have just picked it up. But I think in the long haul, Nintendo makes more money on their first party games because of that perceived value. That's my impression anyway. I don't have any data to back that up. But they've always done it. They've done that since like back in the NES days.
Well, I also think that because it's got Pokemon in the title of it, there is such a massive following for Pokemon, regardless of like how good or bad, or if it's not what you wanted within the game, it's going to sell anyway. Yeah. So I think they have probably the liberty of charging whatever they want for it because they know it's going to sell.
Yeah, there have not been a lot of steep discounted games on the Switch. I think the only games that you've seen that have been values, other than like their limited time sales that they do on their eShop, the only games you see that are of value are like the third party indie games that got ported to Switch early. Like I'm thinking Shovel Knight, Binding of Isaac, what's the Dead Cells? I think those games they just came out at the price that they already were on Steam or the other consoles, like $15, $20, because they knew getting in at that price point was important on those other consoles. If they did a physical release, they could charge whatever they wanted. They'd be double the price. In fact, Binding of Isaac, I'm not a fan of that game. I like to play it. I just don't enjoy it. I think the controls are floaty for me, and I don't I don't like those procedurally generated games that much. But I respect it. I see why it's popular, and the people that love it are not wrong. It's like a well-made game at what it does. I just don't care for its trick, but it had a physical release. And when I was at the GameStop, I saw the physical release of it. I'm like, you know what? I've heard great things about this. I'm going to give it a shot. And I bought it. And inside it had like a retro instruction booklet that was laid out just like the original 80s Zelda instruction book.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it was great. Now I ended up trading it back in because I didn't like the game. Yeah, it's some really cool retro stuff in it. But yeah, so that's, go ahead.
I would say it's worth it just for probably that booklet.
It was, yeah. I got to read through the book and everything, but I think it was only $20. Maybe it was $25. I don't remember. Yeah. But what I'll say about Let's Go Pikachu is that from a casual non-Pokemon fan, like it's been good. I thought the mechanics would be really lame and get annoying, and in handheld mode they don't. In when you have to use the motion controls, it's not consistent. Like, and they do things too, like just not to harp on motion controls the whole time, but Jesus, it's annoying. So okay, it just happened before I did this. There's a rare Pokemon come out. They're like, if you catch the same type of Pokemon 2 or 3 times, the chances of a rare one to come out go up, and it tells you what your catch bonus is or your rarity bonus is. So it's really got some smart mechanics in it. So this, I don't know Pokemon names. This big Clefairy, I think his name is, this big pink puffball. It's not Jigglypuff. He's not. But he's like, looks like him. He's this pink, like teddy bear looking thing. Yeah. I think it's the one after Clefairy, because his name he looked like him and he had a name that started with like Clef something. Anyway, he pops up. I'm like, I don't have that one. I must collect them all. So I run into him and I go get him. And it's like Pokemon Go where the circles shrink up, and you got to land your Pokeball right inside the small circle. Yeah. And the color of that circle tells you how difficult it is to catch. Well, it's a red one, which means you're going to throw 15 Pokeballs. He's still just going to run away. So I bust out the rare Pokeball that has a higher catch power. And then I give him some fruit to make him chill out and relax. and he's jumping around the screen left to right. And I'm playing with motion controls. Well, you've only got like 5 of these like super rare Pokeballs that guarantee a catch. I threw 3 of them and missed. Oh, God. Because he's jumping around, and like they do that thing that Pokemon Go does where like you have to basically, you hold up the controller, you point it straight at the TV like it's a remote control, right? And you push the A button when you're ready to flick your wrist to catch. Well, you push the button and then you have to wait until the game says, okay, you're ready. And meanwhile, the Pokemon's moving. Right? So you throw it, and you throw it to where he was, not where he's going to be, which if it was accurate, if you could like throw left and right, that would be great, but you can only throw straight ahead. And either my motion's not consistent or the capture's not consistent, because sometimes I'll throw it the same power each time, and one time it'll fly over his head, one time it'll fall short. Like you probably saw when I was throwing them, they were like bouncing on the ground, right? I'm like, I'm doing it the same way every time, and in addition to that, the Pokemon have like these stupid little like attacks that don't actually hurt you, but they'll paw at you like they're mad and they're attacking you. Yeah. While they're doing that, they cannot be caught. Well, so you have to ready up, you have to time up the circles, and I go to throw, and after I've thrown, the ball's in the air, he stops and does his little move, and he's invincible during that time. He's like, how the fuck am I supposed to know the attack coming? So I sit there and I watch. I'm like, okay, does he do it on a timer? Does he do it like every 2 times he jumps back and forth? No, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just random.
I will say that is, it's a mechanic from Pokemon Go, because I encountered that a few times when I was out and about trying to catch them. You would throw it, and then they do the little motion and be like, God damn it, I just wasted a really good Pokeball. I'm like, how dare you? Exactly.
Well, and if it wasn't for the fact that, like, in Pokemon Go, at least you're like, okay, I need more Pokeballs, I could just buy them right here. Yeah. No, in this game, if you run out of Pokeballs, you got to go find the NPC who'll give you some more, or you have to go to town and buy more. Like, I literally have spent most of my money that you get in the game on Pokeballs. And the game's designed that way. Everybody gives a little bit more cash. Yeah. Like every there's a lot more trainer battles, and the trainer battles that you have give you money. Like if you beat a really good one, they'll give you like 1,000. But the Pokeballs are 100 whatever Pokemon money is, 100 Poké coins per ball. So if you need to go buy 20, ball? that's 2,000 Poké coins for 20 balls. And if it's nothing for my idiot butt with this bad motion controls to throw 5 and miss, and nothing like throwing 5 and throwing 2 fruits at a guy and he just runs away anyway. I'm like, God damn it, that's an expensive loss.
My other question actually was, so you were saying that you come across Pokemon that have like red bars around them, so you have to use a bit more special stuff in order to catch them. How, like, is there any kind of, I don't know, can you tell if you are able to catch them or not? So if you do come across, what are they, like green, yellow?
Yeah,
red.
Green, yellow, orange, and red.
Right.
If they're red, you're not going to catch them with a regular Pokeball. Well, I say that Clef one had red.
Clefable.
It was Clefable. That's him.
Yeah.
Thank you. Clefable shows up, and he's red, or she, whatever it is. It's pink, so I think it's a girl, but I'm assuming gender's bra. Okay. In fact, it tells you what gender it is when you capture it. I didn't look. I didn't lift up its tail and check.
Oh God.
But so it shows up and it's red, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna catch that with a regular Pokeball. So I switch over to my Ultra Ball or whatever the fuck they're called. There's 5 of them. Yeah. I give him the rare fruit. The rare fruit gives you like, I think he only counts for 1 or 2 throws. So I give him the rare fruit. And I throw and I miss. I throw it again and he does this little swipe so it bounces off of his head and doesn't count. Then I finally catch him in the rare Pokeball, the third one I throw. I don't get a good catch on him. If it doesn't land in the center, which you can't aim left or right, so I don't know why it matters. But if it doesn't land in the center, then you don't get a great catch. If you're using the dock or the handheld mode, center every time. Anyway, but I don't know exactly how to. Maybe I just need to get good with my controller because they're still like I'm several hours in the game. And they're still giving you like instructing you how to play the game with tutorials. But
can you do similar what was in Pokemon Go where you can curve a ball as well?
Supposedly, I've not been able to even get it to go left or right.
Right.
Maybe I'm just not good at it. That's absolutely possible. I've played it in like 3 or 4 different settings, but there's no like like there was in the Wii where you're like not communicating with the sensor bar like there was on the Wii. But this Clefable was red, so I wasted 3 of my good Pokeballs. Well, the third one I finally caught him, or I didn't catch him. He went in the Pokeball, but then he just bounced out.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, well, screw it. And so I just started throwing regular Pokeballs at him. And I caught him with a bad throw regular Pokeball, and he was red. I'm like, Jesus, what is he tired from busting out of all these Pokeballs? I don't know.
Maybe he just felt sorry for you. Like, oh, my God, this guy's wasting so much stuff on me.
I think if there is a dummy code in this game, it's definitely been going off for me. Oh my God, we got an idiot on our hands. Let's just turn down the difficulty a little bit. It's like the gold mushroom in Mario Brothers. Okay. you ever have that happen where
I did, yeah.
Yeah, it happened to everybody.
Yeah. 'Cause I remember that happening. I was like, oh my, no, it wasn't that. It was Donkey Kong. Tropical Freeze that happened to me. I was like, don't patronize me, game.
Exactly.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean.
So my recommendation for Let's Go Pokemon, Let's Go Pikachu, if you've never played the series and any of this sounds fun, like, because despite some of the problems I have with it, I actually have been enjoying it more than I thought I would. I'm surprised. Because I think I assumed I would be, it's Pokemon and just toss it aside, but it takes away a lot of like, I think the biggest thing for me is taking away the having to have a 20-minute battle for every Pokemon you want to catch. And that's gone. It's way easier and way more incentivizing is that a word? Incentivizing? I'm incentivized to go capture Pokemon in a way that's not annoying like it was in the old game. So I'd recommend it if you got $60 burning a hole in your pocket and you want to give it a shot, I would. Or if, let's say you're listening to this and your kid wants it or something, I would definitely get it for them because it is a lot of fun for a reimagining. Now, I was not going to say a remake because it's not really a remake. It's just more of a reimagining of that old game. And if my 11-year-old daughter was not even around when that game came out, so she's never played it.
Wow. Now I feel old.
Yeah. Gets worse every day. So tell us about Hitman 2. Other than that, your computer doesn't like it.
Well, yeah. I will probably preface this by saying my computer is not the best. It's not the most powerful. So I've had a couple of issues trying to stream it. Playing it offline is absolutely fine. I can get like 60 frames on it.
Okay.
Yeah, but streaming it just absolutely wrecks the frame rate on it. So aside from that, I've been enjoying it so far. It's not entirely different from the previous game. It's just Hitman, no subtitle. So if you're going into this expecting something completely different, you're not going to get it. It's basically just series 2 of the first the previous. I don't want to call it the first Hitman because there's been a slew of other Hitman games.
Current gen Hitman, I guess.
Yeah. Which is funny actually because they've called this one Hitman 2, and there has already been a Hitman 2. So
right.
It's super confusing.
It's like when they remake old TV shows and just call it the same thing. Did you ever watch Magnum PI?
No, that was before my time.
Okay, well, there was an 80s Magnum PI that starred, what's the guy's name? He was on 3 Men and a Baby.
The guy with the mustache.
Yeah. But there's a new Tom Selleck.
There we go. There's
a new version of it on TV. We were watching football last weekend, and my wife comes in and she goes, "Wait, there's a new Magnum PI?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh my God, what are they going to think of next?" She said, "What are they going to think of next? The Knight Rider?" I go, "There's already been a new Knight Rider. It's already canceled."
Yeah, there's been quite a few remakes of old TV shows. The same title as well.
I have to imagine this Hitman is better than the old Hitman games.
Yeah, it's definitely an upgrade. I mean, it's, like it's 2018. Those
the old Hitman games came out in a time when like game companies were still figuring out how to make a good stealth mission.
Yeah. Yeah, if you go back and see any of the gameplay or even play any of the older Hitman games, they're not really focused on stealth. I mean, there are elements of it in there, but more often than not, you just end up having a massive firefight with everyone in the level and just killing everyone. So
you just go Rambo mode, kill everybody. Okay, what we want you to do is sneak in there and silently take out these 2 targets. So I'm just going to kill them all.
Yeah.
Nuke it from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
You know what? They may as well have done. So yeah, they have come a long way, definitely, with these last 2 games at least anyway. One of the differences in Hitman 2 is I noticed the levels in this one were significantly bigger than the previous Hitman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a lot more space to cover. Basically, you have a mechanic in the game where you press a button and the whole screen will go black and white except for the target, which will appear as red. So obviously,
that's awesome.
Yeah, you know where to go and know who to aim for. And this
it's like Predator vision.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I was playing on the Miami level, which is it's like based in it's like a racetrack. It's like a massive event that's going on, and you have to kill one of the targets is actually on the racetrack in a car driving around. And
wow.
Yeah, and I was using the I don't know what they call it, but it's like Hitman sense, vision. I guess. Yeah, vision. Yeah. And I was searching. I was like doing the 360 around Agent 47, trying to find this little red dot of who I was meant to be killing, and I could not, for the life in me, spy where she was. And in the end, I just wandered off somewhere. I was like, fine, I'll just try and get closer or attempt to find where she is. And I did it, and it was just this. It was just like a pixel big, this red dot on my vision that was going a bazillion miles an hour around the racetrack, obviously because she's in a car.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, it is good because it makes you go and venture around the level rather than just finding your target and beelining to them. So
just like when you murder people in real life. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you got to take the sights in. So it's good in that sense. Obviously, the other side to it, I guess, is that you could spend quite a while just like wandering around, not being able to find who you meant to kill.
Yeah, I mean, but the bright side is, from what I watched you stream a little bit of this earlier in the week. There was the graphics are really good on it, so I mean, it's not bad to walk around and see it all.
Definitely not. The Hitman 1 graphics were really good as well, but this has, I think it's taken just a slight step up. graphically. I was
no wonder your computer's screaming, Uncle.
I know. No.
Okay, the graphics are way better and the levels are huge. And my computer's smoking again.
I wonder what that smell was. But yeah, I was playing on the first one, and I think the first thing that I noticed was the graphics. It's set in like you have to infiltrate the house that's in the middle of a beach somewhere, and it's at night, and there's like long grass growing and water everywhere, and it's really pretty. Yeah,
that 8-foot tall grass you were running around in.
Yeah, the one that I was hiding in, trying not to make my head shine from the moonlight.
I kept wondering who lets their grass grow this tall.
It was beach grass. It wasn't an actual garden.
It was dark out. I couldn't tell.
Yeah. The other thing to note on this one is that, while talking about the levels, is that this game has been fully released with all of the levels included. Hitman 1 was episodic, so on release you only got one, which was a Paris level, and you had to play that level a few times until obviously the next level got introduced or patched in. This one, no, you have 6 full levels that you can play through entirely in one go if you want to. But the only downside to that I can see is that you might have a tendency to just blaze through them if they're all there for your convenience.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, in the first one, you only had one level, so it gave you multiple things to do. You had to go back in to the level to find different ways to kill the targets, to kill different targets, explore the level, and that kind of thing.
I always thought that Hitman 1 concept of episodic was a really interesting one. It was not enough to make me go get it, but I think it originally came out as a console exclusive at first, right? The Hitman 1?
Think so? Don't question me on that, but I can't remember.
I don't know either, but it takes me back to like Splinter Cell and GoldenEye. Do you remember those games had like you could just play through it like the story, but then it also had these like side missions you could do like bonus, and it would actually unlock other things, cool stuff.
Yeah,
and I think, you know, giving you, okay, this is this week's level, here's 10 things to do in it, is really neat. Like different missions within the same level is smart because you get more game out of your from the company that made this. You get more game out of your levels that you designed. And as something like a big town or a racetrack, like you're saying, or a big house, you know, there could be lots of really quality gameplay moments to be had if you just set up different missions in each one. I think that's really smart. Yeah,
it's a definite selling point from having an episodic release. Because if you've never played Hitman before, in a level there are so many objects and items and different scenarios that you can set up and use in order to kill the target. So when you're wandering around, like, you can go and pick up a pair of scissors and just throw them at the target. You don't have to do anything special. But then there's really complex situations where I was playing one on the Miami level. I was playing it offline, and there's 2 targets. There's the girl that is in the race car that's going around the racetrack, and then there's her dad. He's like in charge of a massive tech company that's there. They make the race cars. So he's wandering around, and basically I took the role of like a sergeant guy that was in charge of some kind of army that was to do with the war, and I met up with her dad. I think it's called Robert Knox, and he was demonstrating a new robotic war machine, which was triggered by a key card. So you would get the key card, and it would state what target it was aiming for. You would swipe it on the robot, and it would kill the target in front of it. Yeah, and there was a little mission in there that I discovered where you could make it so that the robot would target Robert Knox while he was stood in front of it. But you couldn't do that straight off the bat. You had to go and find a picture of him first in order to scan it into the robot so it would target him. So I did it the first time.
That's complex.
Yeah,
wow.
Exactly, yeah. So I did it the first time around, and I was like, oh, I don't have a picture of him. Okay. So I restarted it and then had a little bit of a wander around, and I came across a magazine, and he was on the front of it. So I just ripped off his face on there, and then I put it onto the machine, the robot, and it killed him. And it's like a stealth kill, because the people that are around you don't know any better. They think it's just the robot that has malfunctioned,
right?
And he's dead. So you get away with it. You don't end up being hunted and shot. So
you sound way too excited about getting away with murder. I'm just saying. He's so great. No one even suspects him here or anything.
It's Hitman.
I know. I'm joking.
I like it because it's really inventive with some of the ways that you can kill people in the levels. It's such a really detailed game.
Could you go full Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone and like set up booby traps for people?
You can set up booby traps, yeah. There's one.
Can you set up a blowtorch that burns the guy's head off?
I haven't come to that yet, Crunk, but if I do, I'll let you know. There's one that you can do on Sierra Knox, which is the girl that's driving the race car, where you can plant a bomb on her car.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I haven't managed to do that one yet, because I think that one is ridiculously elaborate, so.
Can you throw like a stick in the spokes of her car and make it like fly through the air?
Okay, race cars don't have spokes.
Oh, I bet they do. Well, they used to. Back in my day, race cars had spokes.
Back in my day. Oh, God.
Well, they were drawn by horses too, but we're not talking about that.
Yeah. So actually, no, there's two more things that have been included in Hitman 2 now, which is the new co-op mode, which wasn't included in Hitman 1. So this is a new mode, I guess it is, that they've included, there's one which is a sniper level, which you can play solo. And all it is you are sat on a cliff with a massive sniper and a really long range scope, and you have this one sprawling, I think it's like a building and an outside part, that is just in front of you, and you are given specific targets to kill, and that's pretty much it. You can do co-op in it, which is quite cool. So you can coordinate when you kill people, because obviously if you kill people in a crowded area, people are going to panic. So there's that element of the cooperation in there. There's no like competition in that one as far as I know. But the other one is Ghost Mode, which is a competitive co-op. And this, to me, it looks really fun, but I think there's a couple of issues with it. But to be fair to the Hitman, it has stated that it's just in beta. So, yeah,
okay. So they're like, hey, well, this is something we're trying out. But...
Exactly, yeah. So I think they've done the right thing with that. So in co-op, in Ghost Mode, you both start on the same level. I watched some gameplay. I haven't had a chance to play this because none of my friends have Hitman 2. So I haven't had a chance to...
You don't have any friends. What are you trying to kid over here?
Okay, I'll just go sit in a corner.
I think I know one of your friends who's going to get the game soon. They just haven't got it yet.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to try it out soon. So two of you start on the same level. You don't have interaction with each other, hence why it's called Ghost Mode. The other player is grayed out. You can't interact with them. So you start on the same level. You have the same target that you both have to kill, and it is the first person who manages to get the kill on the target, but there is a stipulation that it has to be unnoticed. Otherwise, you don't get a point. It is points-based in the Ghost Mode, and I think it's like first to 5. But if you do get noticed by it, you don't get the point. So the first person who goes to kill the target, the second person then has a countdown, and they have to kill the target within that specific time slot.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a weird, I've never heard of that. It's unusual, but it sounds interesting and like I've always loved to see companies try to invent new gameplay modes like this. Something never been done before, because, everything you've ever played, like you played it, you're like, oh, that's just deathmatch. Well, deathmatch was never a thing until Doom came out. And then all of a sudden they're like, Doom was a action story, somewhat story-based game, but mostly action. And then they're like, wouldn't it be cool if we could shoot each other in a big arena? And then boom, deathmatch came around.
Exactly,
then capture the flag. And then, hey, what if we had vehicles in our deathmatch? Well, now you've got Battlefield. What if we put 1,000 fucking people in here?
Yeah.
Now you've got an MMO. So I love when they come out with stuff like this. Did you ever play any of the Splinter Cell games?
Well, very brief. I think I had a demo for one on like the PS1, but that was about it.
They're really hit and miss, but there was one of the reasons I never played Hitman is because whenever I felt like playing a stealthy spy game, I always played Splinter Cell. There was one called Chaos Theory.
Oh yeah.
You know my friend that comes to stream sometimes, Elidius, Ollie. He and I used to play that Chaos Theory. There was a co-op mode in it, and I've never had a better I've never seen a game handle it better than that one. The only thing is it was like a side thing to the main campaign, so there were only like 6 levels, and once we memorized those, but it was over. But it was so fun because we'd have to like stealth together, and like there were certain areas, and they had to be special maps because they were designed for 2 players. Yeah. You could only get around with like one guy would give you a leg up. You'd sit there and put your hands together and lift him up, and then he'd pull you up there at the top. So once we figured out like the best way to do it, we could pretty much do all the missions on hard mode with our eyes closed, but it was a lot of fun getting there. And, they came out with another Splinter Cell after that. Like the next 2 or 3, they like dropped that mode completely because it wasn't popular, it cost extra to make. And then they put it back in one called Blacklist that came out maybe 4 years ago. Oh. And it's excellent. If it ever goes on sale, a couple of us should try it to get it and play it because it's not a perfect game, but it's a lot of fun.
Weird that you should mention Chaos Theory actually, because me and Parky we planned on playing it. But yeah. We found that the servers had gone down. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, they'd closed the servers, so we can't play it a lot online anymore.
Yeah, that rip. Yeah. It makes sense because that was 10 years ago at least.
I didn't realize how old it was. So, but
Blacklist, if you get a chance, I got it on the Switch or on the Wii U. That game was on the Wii U.
All right.
If you could believe it, and it like looked good on the Wii U. But then it played like ass.
Is it on any? Wow. Okay.
Hey, it's the Wii U. What do you expect? Well, I don't do shooters well with twin sticks.
Sorry, it's just the way you said it.
So I bought it on PC and loved it.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that because it sounds. Because I was really excited about playing Chaos Theory because Achievement Hunter had played it recently, probably a couple of months ago now. And they were doing the co-op mode, and it looked like a lot of fun. But
it is.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
you missed it.
Yeah.
Sucks to be you.
Missed that bandwagon. Yeah.
But there are co-op missions. I don't think they play exactly the same way Chaos Theory did, but they're in Blacklist, and I think that's still running.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. But anyway, would you recommend Hitman 2? Were you done telling us about it? I'm sorry. I feel like I always derail our conversations.
No.
Remember this old game I used to play? It was awesome.
I think that was pretty much everything.
All right.
Yeah. Yes, I would probably recommend it if you have played the first Hitman and couldn't get enough of the style of gameplay, then definitely get this one. I mean, you can pick this up for like less than £30 at the moment. So I think for the amount of content that it has in the game, it's definitely worth checking out. And plus, if you have a friend to play with as well, it's got co-op mode. It might not last forever, but it looks like a really, really fun.
Just rub it in with all your friends.
Stopgap, shut up.
I was just looking on Steam. Hitman 2 and on the US Steam account is free to play. There's like prologue that's you can just play for free. Yeah. And then the standard edition is still $60 on Steam. Did you buy it through there or did you buy it somewhere else?
I did buy it somewhere else, yeah.
Okay.
But I think there were different versions that you could get pre-release, but I don't know if they do them anymore.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, on Steam, there's like a $60 for the standard edition. Then there's a bunch of like, what do you call them? Silver edition, which includes expansion pack 1 and exclusive in-game items. Yeah. And then Hitman 2 Gold Edition, which is $100, includes expansions 1 and 2 and in-game items.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever bought anything other than standard edition for any particular game.
Yeah, me neither.
Shut up. I know that's a lie.
Okay, I gotta share a real quick story. because it's story time with Crunky again.
Go on.
There was a game. My friend Dama talked me and he told me about this game, and it was a shooter like Diablo, but a first person shooter grinder type game, right? And a shooter MMO, and it had a TV show tied with it. And I'm just stalling because I can't remember the name of it right now. It was like I know it was a great story, but anyway. We're talking about it all the time. We're following the beta of it, and it's like, okay, so there's it's an MMO, so you've got like interactive story missions where like guys will roll up in cars and you'll fight them and you'll kill them and you'll get loot and you'll get experience and gold, and you have to upgrade your guns and your armor, and you can get a car, and like everything sounded great about it. It's this developer that had a good track record and looked really promising. And I got myself whipped up in a frenzy, and it's the first time I ever pre-ordered a digital, this is years ago now. I pre-ordered a digital deluxe $100 version before the game came out.
Oh, God.
And I said earlier that Blacklist on the Switch or on the Wii U was trash. Or garbage. It's not. It wasn't terrible. It was really good port for the Wii U. The Wii U is a really underpowered system.
Yeah.
But I was bad at it because I don't like playing shooters with control sticks.
Right.
This game though, this game I can't remember the name of, was absolute garbage. Like the controls were terrible. It was glitchy as hell. And I every time I played it, I would end my session going, I can't believe I paid $100 for this. But I had the exclusive purple car and upgraded weapons and early access stuff. Oh my God. We all have done stupid things in our youth though, right? Don't even. What's the dumbest video game purchase you immediately regretted?
Oh God, I'd have to look through my Steam library, I think, for that.
You don't remember one that like you could, I wish I could take this back. I wish I could not do this.
Honestly, I can't think. Hang on, let me just grab my Steam library.
A game you were super excited about and then severely disappointed by?
Well, I was going to say Shadow of the Tomb Raider might fall under that, but I don't regret playing it. Let's have a look.
Gotcha.
I don't know, probably Dark Souls. Oh wait, no, I didn't even buy that though, because you gifted me it.
Yeah, and you played it for several hours. You didn't just play it and shut it off.
I have 30
you forced
hours.
yourself to play it. I know. You got far in that game.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Honestly, I don't think there's much really. I can't think off the top of my head. I'm sure there's probably like a console game that no, I was going to say No Man's Sky, but I think I was one of the few people that actually enjoyed playing No Man's Sky.
What is wrong with you?
I know. I've lost a lot of friends because of that.
Lost a lot of friends. Are you like, No Man's Sky, get the hell out of here?
We're done.
This is first world problems. I was like, I'll just go look for the name of that game in my Steam library. My Steam library is too long. It makes it hard to find it because I don't know what the
God, get out.
What is that game called? It's going to drive me crazy. I'm looking through my Steam library right now. The Surge is in here. That's a game I was severely disappointed with.
Yeah, I remember you streaming The Surge, and you really struggled with it. It was supposed to be like a bit more of a
Cyberpunk Dark Souls.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
It's supposed to be, and there are people, I've seen people online, like you ever read something so dumb that you're like, is this a real person or is this somebody just trolling me? Somebody was like, it's better than Dark Souls. I'm like, shit, just get out of here. You're wrong. I mean, there's got to just be a troll, right?
Well, I think it was Jimmy Nopro that was also playing it as well?
I don't know. Did he play it? He might. Yeah, I think you're right. It was Jimmy. Now I was sitting here thinking about it, he did play it. Defiance. Boom, found it.
Okay.
Totally worth it. Added in March of 2013. Jesus, that was 5 years ago.
All right, I'll just do a quick Defiance. 2015.
Defiance.
Oh, no, that's...
2013.
I think there's a new one.
Is there?
2050 PS4.
They might have ported it to PS4. The game that I was trying to think of is called Defiance. I bought it on Steam in 2013. Cherry says she found it on PS4 like a couple months ago. They tied it with a online game. Yeah, they tied it into a TV show that came out at the same time the game did. And a lot of people thought that's why it felt rushed. It was made by Trion Games, Trion, because everyone thought it was a little bit rushed because it had to be out at the time for the show.
Yeah.
And yeah, initial release date, April 2nd, 2013. It came to PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 as well.
Oh, okay.
Now, if they've monetized it, like made it like every other game, MMO on console, then they might have brought it to PS4 as like free to play. Yeah, free to play.
Ah, right.
And they probably monetized it. So it's still going. It looks like it's good. It wasn't that the game was terrible when it came out. It just was like not the polished experience I was looking for at the time. Defiance 2050. I see what you're saying.
I'm watching this Defiance 2050, and it doesn't look the best.
Well, I mean, this is a 5-year-old game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
And the other thing is like, I mean, it was made for last gen consoles. Mm. Well, it was made for PC first, but it's an MMO shooter, which the whole reason we started talking about this is like, you know, games that try something new, and an MMO shooter is one of those things, and it's very grindy.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me a bit of Destiny.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway. That after that rabbit hole.
Always end in a rabbit hole.
Always. So, how can people get a hold of you, Cherry?
If you want to contact me in any way, shape, or form, you can grab me. I'm on Twitter at CherryCake518. I'm also on Twitch, twitch.tv/CherryCakeTV. What about you, Crunk?
I'm at YouTube/Crunky with 2 N's. I'm also on Twitter at Crunky_Twitch, and I'm on Twitch/Crunky with 2 N's. I think I did that right. Did I do it right? Yeah.
Twitch.tv/Crunky.
Yes, thank you. Twitch.tv.
You were close enough. They'll know what to look for.
You guys, if you made it this far into the podcast, you know who I am, right?
We congratulate you.
We congratulate you. You're never going to know about the 20-minute conversation we had about a game you've never heard of that we just cut out of the episode. All right. Well, see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.